All right, good morning. Happy Tuesday. It's May 9th, 5:30 in the AM, and this is the AM NetWurk, little 15-minute podcast brought to you daily. We just run down through all the business and entrepreneur news, all the good things that there is to know. So let's get it. With no further ado, as I mentioned, Tuesday, May 9th, we're on episode 4, on the AM network. This is Tuesday. We got a couple of new things to talk about. Let's see. We got Mr. Warren Buffett. There's a couple of news items. Mr. Buffett predicts the future of AI, so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about AI as a top topic in the earnings calls this quarter. So we'll take a look at what that means. And new power moves. We got Shaq, 50 cents, Kenya Barris, United on the BET takeover. We'll see what they're up to. We also have, we also have Vice Media in bankruptcy, but my man George Soros putting on the superhero cape on the way. So with no further ado, we'll get started. But before we get in the mix, just a quick shout out to our sponsor, thecoffeemug.co. Sip in style. Believe every mug that you drink from should be as unique as you are. Before we get into it, just want to let you know Mickey and Warren advise smart investors to like and subscribe. All right, first topic, AI. Topic of a lot of earnings calls this quarter. So far, since ChatGPT's introduction in November, there's been a surge, a 77% increase in the mentions of AI in Q4 earnings calls. And then so far in Q1, we've got over 1,000 mentions of AI in Q1 on the S&P top 500 earnings calls. And so what does that really mean? So that's double the amount of mentions in top Fortune 500 companies that are looking at how to integrate AI. It's basically everyone. I think really what the difference is, we're seeing how rapidly this technology is being adopted. It's not like when the internet first came about and people tried to hold off. People tried to see what was happening. People wanted to really just take their time and enter the technology. I think right now, Fortune 500 companies going all in on AI. It's not even like anything else I've ever seen, but really, really interesting right now. So companies across various industries, everyone from Expedia, Moderna, Kraft Heinz. So you want to see your catch up on AI. Everybody, whether it's back office functions, creative functions, everybody's looking at how to increase some performance, expand capabilities, and reduce waste. So lots of stuff going on in the AI universe. If you're not hip to it, get on ChatGPT today. Check it out. It is the future. The future is now. Next up, we'll talk about Vice Media. Vice Media was one of my favorite news channels. I'm a big Vice Media, Vice News fan, but unfortunately, it's bankrupt. Declared bankruptcy right now. I think there's deals to go see who's going to buy it out of bankruptcy. Right now, the company is valued at about $400 million, down from a height of $5.7 billion. So I think that was a couple of years ago, back when Shane was leading Vice Media. $5.7 billion was the evaluation. Now it's a fraction of that. They've struggled to find a buyer. A succession of different CEOs and owners. Before we had Nancy Dubeck, replaced by Bruce Dixon, and Hafsa with a long name. I think it's Josefa Lokhandwala. So they were co-CEOs, but now the property has deteriorated and it's in bankruptcy now. They're looking at the group that George Soros is leading to buy it. And then if George Soros is successful in his purchase, they're looking at returning the co-founder, Shane Smith, the guy with the beard. So if George Soros is successful, we'll probably see the return of Shane Smith. He's been gone since 2017, but hopefully his return will see the rise of Vice Media back to its former glory. So fingers crossed for Vice Media. We'll see. Now we'll talk about Mr. Buffett. I think last week there was the earning call for Berkshire Hathaway, Mr. Buffett's company, and it talked about a lot of things. Talked about AI revolution, soaring profits. We'll take a look at their profits and their earnings report and talk about some of the insights and what they see going forward. But I think starting off, even Mr. Buffett talking all about the AI, says it won't change the world, but it'll definitely provide new opportunities for investors. So it's not really scared about AI taking his job, but he's really excited about what it means for the business world in general. So don't worry if Mr. Buffett's not worried. He shouldn't worry. But definitely, as I mentioned before, take advantage of the AI train that is here. The future is now. Some other things they talked about their earnings reports. It's crazy. So Berkshire Hathaway reported significant increase in earnings. $35.5 billion. I'll say that again. $35.5 billion. And so it may not seem like much when it's attached to Mr. Buffett's name, but just realize last year was just $5 billion. So $5 billion, and of course for a year their earnings increased by $30 billion. That's insane. Insane. Anyway, let's see what they're talking about. And on the earnings call, they were talking about a couple of things. Talking about the future of AI, but also talking about Apple. Berkshire Hathaway is the biggest stockholder, or I think their biggest stock holding right now is Apple. So very vested in that. We just talked about Apple yesterday and how they're looking at emerging markets. So if you didn't check out yesterday's cast. We talked about Apple then, but right now Mr. Buffett is betting big on Apple. And they're also talking about the future of real estate. I think they're seeing a lot of opportunity there as the future of commercial real estate is changing. A lot of things are changing in commercial real estate. You've got the interest rates, but you also have the remnant impact of the pandemic and everybody working from home. So the downtown areas of a lot of cities are looking different in terms of commercial real estate. You'll see a lot of gaps in the market. So I think they're looking to take advantage and position themselves well. And they also touched on just practical life advice. Mr. Buffett is a big fan of just practical life advice and advise everyone, even though he's got $35.5 billion, don't want to leave out the 0.5. Wanted to point out to everyone the importance of not spending more than you earn. Spend less than you earn, people. That is the advice of Mr. Buffett. Anyway, one of our bigger stories. Interesting. We've got Mr. Kenya Barris teaming up with Shaq, the Superman, and 50 Cent. Or should I just say cent? 50 cent. Anyway, on the power move. No pun intended. Or maybe I did. I don't know. Taking over BET Media. So what does that mean? They're teaming up. So they're putting in a bid for majority stake. So it's not to buy wholesale. Majority stake in the global BET Media Group. So partnering with Group Black. If you don't know who Group Black is, check them out. They're really making some power moves in media, as well as capital partners and authentic brands group. So it's a coalition of them to purchase the majority stake in the BET Media Group. And really what that consists of is more than just the channel. It's more than just the television. It's also BET Plus streaming. Got to be in streaming. VH1 as well. So you've got a nice mix of brand properties in there. Interesting thing about it is right now the challenge is that BET is flat on profits. I guess it's what you would call a legacy technology, legacy brand. It's very difficult to stay competitive in this hyper market. People are on TikTok. They don't always watch BET anymore. But we'll see. We've got a couple of competitors in the space as well. You got Mr. Perry, Tyler Perry, putting in a bid to try and buy the majority stake as well. Byron Allen Media Group, he's doing his thing, also putting his hat in the ring. So you got a couple of folks, we got a couple of folks competing for this asset. Worried it might drive up the price a little bit. Got a lot of folks putting in cash. I think whoever ends up with it might overpay. It's a lot of things to consider. You got pros of such an acquisition. You've got diverse ownership. Shaq, 50, Kenya would be a diverse set of influential voices to really kind of shake things up. They've got the industry connections to be able to really make things a go of it. And I think their energy could reinvigorate the legacy brand. Cons: uncertain financial stability. Right now in the media space, it's ever changing. Legacy brands are finding it hard to compete. You got TikTok out there. TikTok. People are on the gram doing their reels. So you got management challenges. To be able to have a consensus among such a group, it might be a challenge. And then there's just stiff competition in the media space. So you want to see what happens, Want to see what happens. My advice, not that anybody asked me, but I'll give it anyway. Really focus on your investment structure. Consider a combination of equity, capital, with convertible notes, convertible debt. Don't take it all on at once. Behind that, have a clear exit strategy. I would say I'm a big fan of taking things to IPO. Put your money in, clear a path, hit that IPO, and get out. But that's just my 2 cents. Not as much as 50 cents, but it's all I got. Anyway, 15-minute podcast. We're at 15 minutes. That's it for me today, folks. Happy Tuesday, May 9th, episode 4. Thanks for hanging out. Just want to give you a little note about NetWurk. So we're launching NetWurk AI-driven marketing solutions. NetWurk services, we're calling it. Check it out. network.org/services and get your AI on. And before we get out of here, one more last shout out to our sponsor, thecoffeemug.co. Sip in style. The mug you drink from should be as unique as you are. Don't settle for anything less. Anyway, that's it for me. Happy Tuesday. Make it a good one. Grand rising, people. Cheers.